The 1970s were a golden age of entertaining, when every party hostess had a signature appetizer that could make or break her social standing. These bite-sized creations defined an era of bold flavors, creative presentations, and unapologetic indulgence. Yet today, most of these once famous party starters have vanished from our tables, relegated to dusty recipe cards and fading memories. 1. Nut-coated cheese ball. The nut-coated cheese ball reigned supreme at every 1970s gathering, sitting proudly on the appetizer table like a culinary crown jewel. Hostesses would spend hours crafting the perfect blend of cream cheese, sharp cheddar, and secret seasonings, then rolling the mixture into a perfect sphere before coating it with chopped pecans, walnuts, or almonds. The texture was divine, creamy on the inside with a satisfying crunch from the nuts, served alongside an array of crackers that guests would carefully balance with generous scoops. These cheese balls weren't just appetizers, they were conversation starters, centerpieces, and symbols of hospitality. Every family had their own variation, passed down through generations like precious heirlooms. Some added pineapple for sweetness, others incorporated bacon bits for smokiness, and the truly adventurous might include a splash of sherry. The cheese ball represented everything the 1970s loved about entertaining. It was impressive, delicious, and could feed a crowd without breaking the budget. 2. Cheese fondue. Swiss-inspired cheese fondue transformed ordinary dinner parties into exotic European experiences, complete with long-handled forks and bubbling pots of molten cheese. The ritual was as important as the taste. Guests would gather around the fondue pot, carefully spearing cubes of French bread, vegetables, or apple slices before dipping them into the rich, wine-infused cheese mixture. The aroma of Gruyere and Emmental cheeses melding with white wine and garlic filled homes across America, creating an atmosphere of sophisticated fun. Fondue parties became social events where conversation flowed as freely as the cheese, and losing your bread cube in the pot meant buying the next round of drinks or giving kisses all around. The fondue pot itself became a status symbol, with copper and ceramic versions gracing wedding registries and holiday wish lists. Hostesses would serve alongside it an array of dippers, crusty bread cubes, blanched broccoli, cherry tomatoes, and crisp apple slices. The communal nature of fondue embodied the 1970s spirit of togetherness and sharing, making every meal feel like a celebration of friendship and good food. 3. Grape jelly cocktail meatballs. The sweet and savory combination of grape jelly and chili sauce created the most beloved party meatball of the decade, simmering away in slow cookers at countless gatherings. This unlikely pairing produced a glossy crimson glaze that clung to perfectly seasoned meatballs, creating an irresistible finger food that disappeared faster than hosts could replenish the serving dish. The genius lay in its simplicity. Equal parts grape jelly and chili sauce heated until smooth, then tossed with pre-cooked meatballs for a dish that required minimal effort but delivered maximum impact. Guests would hover around the slow cooker, armed with toothpicks, eagerly spearing these glistening orbs of flavor. The sweetness of the grape jelly balanced the tangy heat of the chili sauce, while the meatballs provided hearty substance that could satisfy hungry partygoers. Smart hostesses learned to make double batches, knowing that even the most sophisticated guests couldn't resist the nostalgic appeal of these humble yet addictive appetizers. The recipe became a closely guarded secret in some families, with variations including different jelly flavors or the addition of barbecue sauce for extra complexity. 4. Rumaki. Rumaki brought an exotic touch to American appetizer tables, featuring chicken livers and water chestnuts wrapped in crispy bacon and glazed with a sweet teriyaki-style sauce. This Polynesian-inspired creation reflected the 1970s fascination with tiki culture and international flavors, offering adventurous diners a taste of the tropical islands right in suburban living rooms. The preparation was an art form. Tender chicken livers were paired with crunchy water chestnuts, wrapped snugly in bacon strips, then secured with toothpicks before being broiled to perfection. The result was a perfect harmony of textures and flavors: the rich, creamy liver, the crisp water chestnut, the smoky bacon, and the sweet, salty glaze that caramelized beautifully in the oven. Rumaki represented the era's willingness to embrace bold, unusual ingredient combinations that might seem strange today. Hostesses would serve these elegant morsels on lacquered trays, often garnished with pineapple chunks and maraschino cherries to enhance the tropical theme. The dish required skill and timing to execute properly, making it a point of pride for accomplished home cooks who wanted to showcase their culinary sophistication and worldliness to impress guests. 5. Bacon-wrapped water chestnuts. These simple yet elegant appetizers elevated the humble water chestnut into a sophisticated party favorite, combining crisp vegetables with smoky bacon and a sweet soy-based marinade. The preparation was straightforward, but the results were spectacular. Water chestnuts were marinated in a mixture of soy sauce and brown sugar, then wrapped individually in bacon strips and secured with toothpicks before baking until the bacon was crispy and caramelized. The contrast between the tender, slightly sweet water chestnut and the salty, smoky bacon created an addictive combination that kept guests coming back for more. These appetizers represented the 1970s love affair with bacon, which was considered the perfect addition to any dish that needed extra flavor and appeal. Smart hostesses would prepare large batches, knowing that these would be among the first appetizers to disappear from the serving tray. The sweet and salty glaze that formed during baking gave each bite a glossy appearance that looked as good as it tasted. The simplicity of the ingredients belied the sophisticated flavor profile, making this dish accessible to home cooks, while still impressive enough for special occasions and holiday entertaining. 6. Clam dip. Clam dip reigned as the ultimate party staple, served in hollowed-out bread bowls or elegant serving dishes, surrounded by an array of chips and crackers for the perfect scoop. The recipe was deceptively simple: cream cheese blended with minced clams, lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, and a hint of garlic. But the result was a rich, briny spread that embodied the essence of seaside sophistication. The texture was crucial. The best clam dips achieved a perfect balance between creamy and chunky, with tender pieces of clam providing bursts of oceanic flavor throughout the smooth base. Hostesses would often serve this alongside other seafood appetizers, creating impressive spreads that made even casual gatherings feel special. The dip's pale pink color and subtle seafood aroma immediately elevated any appetizer table, while its rich flavor satisfied even the most discriminating palates. Many families had their own secret variations, adding ingredients like chopped green onions, hot sauce, or even a splash of white wine. The presentation was as important as the taste, with many hostesses serving clam dip in scalloped shells or ceramic crab-shaped bowls to enhance the maritime theme and create memorable visual impact. 7. French onion dip. French onion dip transformed ordinary chip and dip sessions into sophisticated snacking experiences, featuring caramelized onions folded into rich sour cream for a flavor that was both familiar and elegant. The homemade versions were labor-intensive labor of love, requiring patience to properly caramelize onions until they reached that perfect golden brown sweetness that made the difference between good dip and great dip. The slow cooking process filled kitchens with an intoxicating aroma that built anticipation for the final product, while the deep, complex flavors that developed during the caramelization process created a dip that was far superior to any store-bought version. Hostesses would serve this creamy, onion-studded masterpiece with ridged potato chips, fresh vegetables, or crusty bread rounds, creating an appetizer that satisfied both sophisticated palates and casual snackers. The dip's rich tan color and visible pieces of caramelized onion made it visually appealing, while the combination of tangy sour cream and sweet savory onions created a perfect balance of flavors. Many partygoers would position themselves strategically near the French onion dip, knowing that once word spread about its homemade quality, the bowl would be scraped clean within minutes. 8. Hot artichoke dip. Hot artichoke dip bubbled away in ovens across America, filling homes with the irresistible aroma of melted cheese, tender artichokes, and garlic that drew guests into kitchens like moths to a flame. This warm, creamy concoction combined marinated artichoke hearts with cream cheese, mayonnaise, and Parmesan cheese, creating a rich, indulgent dip that was served piping hot with tortilla chips, crackers, or sliced baguettes. The preparation was simple, but the results were spectacular. All ingredients were mixed together and baked until golden and bubbly, creating a dip with a crispy top and creamy interior that satisfied every texture craving. The artichokes provided a slightly tangy, meaty texture that elevated this beyond ordinary cheese dips, while the garlic added depth and the Parmesan contributed a sharp, nutty flavor that tied everything together perfectly. Smart hostesses learned to make this dip in small, frequent batches rather than one large serving, as it was best enjoyed hot and fresh from the oven. The golden, bubbling surface was as visually appealing as it was delicious, and the communal nature of sharing a warm dip created an intimate, cozy atmosphere that brought people together around the appetizer table. 9. Stuffed mushrooms. Stuffed mushrooms represented the pinnacle of 1970s appetizer sophistication, featuring plump mushroom caps filled with savory breadcrumb mixtures that showcased the home cook's creativity and skill. The preparation began with selecting the perfect mushrooms, large, firm button mushrooms with caps that could hold generous amounts of stuffing without breaking apart during cooking. The stems were carefully removed and chopped fine, then sautéed with onions, garlic, and herbs before being mixed with breadcrumbs, cheese, and sometimes sausage or crab for extra richness. Each mushroom cap became a little vessel for these flavorful mixtures, brushed with butter and baked until the caps were tender and the filling was golden brown on top. The result was an elegant appetizer that looked impressive on serving platters and delivered complex flavors in every bite. These required more skill and time than simpler appetizers, making them a point of pride for accomplished hostesses who wanted to showcase their culinary abilities. The earthy mushroom flavor paired beautifully with savory fillings, while the varied textures from the tender mushroom to the crispy breadcrumb topping created a satisfying eating experience that justified the extra effort required to prepare them properly. 10. Deviled eggs. Deviled eggs graced every respectable appetizer spread, their bright yellow centers piped with precision and garnished with paprika that added both color and a hint of smoky flavor to these protein-packed bites. The art of making perfect deviled eggs was passed down through generations, with each family guarding their special techniques for achieving the creamiest yolk mixture and the most attractive presentation. Hard-boiled eggs were halved lengthwise, their yolks removed and mashed with mayonnaise, mustard, salt, and pepper until smooth and creamy, then carefully piped or spooned back into the white shells. The best deviled eggs achieved a perfect balance between tangy and creamy, with enough mayonnaise to create a smooth texture without making the filling too loose or heavy. Variations abounded. Some cooks added pickle relish for crunch, others incorporated curry powder for an exotic twist, and the truly adventurous might include bacon bits or capers for extra flavor complexity. The presentation was crucial, with eggs arranged on special serving plates designed specifically for this purpose, each depression cradling an egg perfectly. A light dusting of paprika was the traditional finishing touch, though creative hostesses might garnish with chives, bacon bits, or tiny shrimp for special occasions. 11. Pigs in a blanket. Pigs in a blanket satisfied both children and adults at parties, combining cocktail sausages or hot dog pieces wrapped in flaky pastry dough for a handheld treat that disappeared as quickly as hosts could bake fresh batches. The concept was brilliantly simple. Small sausages were wrapped in strips of puff pastry or crescent roll dough, then baked until golden brown and served warm with mustard for dipping. The contrast between the flaky, buttery pastry and the savory, slightly spicy sausage created an irresistible combination that appealed to every age group. These appetizers were perfect for casual entertaining, as they could be prepared ahead and baked just before serving, filling the house with an aroma that announced the party was ready to begin. The golden brown pastry shells puffed beautifully in the oven, creating an attractive presentation that looked much more sophisticated than the simple ingredients would suggest. Many hostesses would prepare several varieties using different types of sausages or adding cheese to the pastry wrapping for extra richness. The finger food format made them perfect for mingling, while their familiar flavors provided comfort food appeal that put guests at ease and created a welcoming atmosphere. 12. Shrimp cocktail. Shrimp cocktail represented the height of elegant entertaining, featuring perfectly cooked jumbo shrimp arranged artfully around bowls of tangy cocktail sauce that provided the perfect acidic counterpoint to the sweet, tender seafood. The preparation required attention to detail. Shrimp had to be cooked just until pink and tender, never rubbery, then chilled thoroughly before serving. The presentation was as important as the preparation, with shrimp arranged on ice-filled serving platters or hanging elegantly over the rims of cocktail glasses filled with sauce. The cocktail sauce was typically a mixture of ketchup, horseradish, lemon juice, and Worcestershire sauce, with the proportions adjusted to achieve the perfect balance of sweet, spicy, and tangy flavors that complemented the delicate shrimp. This appetizer symbolized sophisticated entertaining and special occasions, as shrimp were more expensive than most other party foods and required more careful handling and timing. Guests would often judge the quality of an entire party spread based on the shrimp cocktail, making it a high-stakes appetizer that separated serious hostesses from casual entertainers. The elegant presentation and premium ingredients made this a centerpiece appetizer that set the tone for the entire meal. 13. Crab rangoon. Crab rangoon brought Asian-inspired flavors to American appetizer tables, featuring crispy wonton wrappers filled with a creamy mixture of cream cheese, crab meat, and subtle seasonings that created an addictive combination of textures and flavors. These golden, puffy triangles were deep-fried until crispy and served hot, often accompanied by sweet and sour sauce or duck sauce for dipping. The filling was the key to success. Real crab meat folded into softened cream cheese with just enough seasoning to enhance without overwhelming the delicate seafood flavor. The wonton wrappers provided the perfect vehicle, creating crispy shells that shattered at first bite to reveal the warm, creamy interior. These appetizers required some skill to prepare properly, as the wontons had to be sealed carefully to prevent the filling from leaking during frying, and the oil temperature had to be precisely controlled to achieve golden perfection without burning. The result was an elegant appetizer that seemed exotic and sophisticated to American palates, while remaining accessible and familiar in its creamy, comforting appeal. Many hostesses would prepare these for special occasions, as the combination of premium crab meat and the impressive presentation made them suitable for the most important gatherings and celebrations. 14. Ham cheddar cheese puffs. Cheddar cheese puffs emerged from ovens across America as golden, airy spheres that practically floated off serving platters, their light texture contrasting beautifully with the sharp, intense cheese flavor packed into every bite. These sophisticated appetizers were made using choux pastry, the same technique used for eclairs and profiteroles, but filled with sharp cheddar cheese that created a savory rather than sweet treat. The preparation required some skill, as the pastry had to be cooked on the stovetop before eggs were beaten in one at a time. Then the grated cheese was folded in carefully to maintain the light texture. When baked properly, these puffs would rise dramatically in the oven, creating hollow centers surrounded by thin walls of cheesy pastry that delivered intense flavor in an amazingly light package. The golden color and impressive size made them visually striking on appetizer platters, while their warm, cheesy aroma drew guests from across the room. These represented the more sophisticated side of 1970s entertaining, requiring technique and timing that separated experienced cooks from beginners. The reward for the extra effort was an appetizer that seemed magical in its combination of lightness and flavor intensity, creating memorable eating experiences that guests would request at future gatherings. 15. Sausage balls. Sausage balls became the ultimate make-ahead appetizer, combining spicy breakfast sausage with sharp cheddar cheese and baking mix to create bite-sized morsels that could be prepared in large batches and served warm or at room temperature. The recipe was foolproof and forgiving, equal parts of each ingredient mixed together, rolled into walnut-sized balls and baked until golden brown and cooked through. The result was a hearty, protein-rich appetizer that satisfied hungry partygoers while being easy enough for beginning cooks to master successfully. The combination of savory sausage, sharp cheese, and tender biscuit-like texture created comfort food appeal that transcended age groups and social occasions. These could be made days ahead and frozen, then reheated just before serving, making them perfect for busy hostesses who wanted to prepare impressive spreads without last-minute stress. The golden brown exterior gave way to a moist, flavorful interior that delivered satisfying substance along with bold flavors. Many families developed their own variations, adding jalapenos for heat, different cheeses for variety, or herbs for complexity. The rustic, homemade appearance was part of their charm, creating appetizers that felt welcoming and unpretentious while still being delicious enough to anchor any party spread. 16. Salmon mousse. Salmon mousse represented the pinnacle of elegant entertaining, combining flaked salmon with cream cheese, gelatin, and delicate seasonings to create a smooth, luxurious spread that was molded into impressive shapes and served with toast points or crackers. The preparation required patience and technique. Gelatin had to be dissolved properly, salmon had to be flaked to the right consistency, and the mixture needed to be chilled for hours to achieve the perfect texture. The result was a pale pink, velvety smooth appetizer that looked as beautiful as it tasted, often molded in fish shapes or ring molds for dramatic presentation. The delicate salmon flavor was enhanced with lemon juice, capers, and fresh herbs, creating a sophisticated flavor profile that appealed to discerning palates. This appetizer represented special occasion entertaining at its finest, as both the ingredients and the preparation time made it unsuitable for casual gatherings. Hostesses would garnish salmon mousse elaborately with capers, lemon slices, fresh dill, and cucumber rounds, creating centerpiece appetizers that demonstrated culinary skill and attention to detail. The smooth, creamy texture and elegant presentation made this a conversation starter that set the tone for sophisticated dinner parties and holiday celebrations where impression and flavor were equally important. 17. Shrimp dip. Shrimp dip elevated ordinary chip and dip sessions into elegant appetizer experiences, combining tender cooked shrimp with cream cheese, mayonnaise, and subtle seasonings to create a pink-tinged spread that delivered sophisticated seafood flavor in an accessible format. The key to exceptional shrimp dip was using high-quality shrimp that were cooked just until pink and tender, then chopped to the perfect size, small enough to spread easily but large enough to provide satisfying bites of seafood in every scoop. The cream cheese base provided richness and smooth texture, while mayonnaise added tanginess and helped achieve the perfect consistency for spreading on crackers or vegetables. Seasonings were kept simple to allow the sweet shrimp flavor to shine, usually just lemon juice, garlic, and perhaps a hint of hot sauce or Worcestershire for complexity. The pale pink color was visually appealing and immediately identified this as a premium seafood appetizer that required more investment than ordinary dips. Many hostesses would serve this alongside other seafood appetizers, creating impressive spreads that showcase their commitment to quality ingredients and sophisticated entertaining. The dip could be prepared hours ahead, allowing flavors to meld while freeing up time for other party preparations, making it both elegant and practical for busy hosts. 18. Pickled shrimp. Pickled shrimp offered a tangy, sophisticated twist on traditional shrimp appetizers, featuring tender cooked shrimp marinated in a spicy vinegar-based solution that created complex flavors and an impressive presentation suitable for special occasions. The preparation began with perfectly cooked shrimp that were then marinated for hours or overnight in a mixture of vinegar, oil, onions, and spices that penetrated the seafood and created layers of flavor. The acidic marinade not only added bold taste but also helped preserve the shrimp, making this an ideal make-ahead appetizer for busy hostesses who wanted to prepare impressive foods without last-minute stress. The result was shrimp with a firm texture and bright, complex flavor that combined sweetness from the seafood, tanginess from the vinegar, and warmth from spices like bay leaves and peppercorns. These were typically served chilled on elegant platters, often garnished with lemon slices and fresh herbs to enhance the sophisticated presentation. The bold flavors and impressive appearance made pickled shrimp suitable for the most important gatherings, where hosts wanted to showcase their culinary sophistication and commitment to quality ingredients. The make-ahead nature and room temperature serving made them practical for entertaining, while the unique preparation method created conversation starters that distinguished memorable parties from ordinary gatherings.